Hello there. For those that don't know me, my name is Vince, aka Vincelot, is the handle I normally go by online. I currently work for Crucial or Micron, who deal with Crucial and Ballistic brands, and previously I was the managing director of Esports Interactive and manager and co-owner of Choke Gaming. Choke Gaming being a relatively successful gaming organisation within the UK, especially more so in League of Legends than any other game. They did have a very good Dota 2 team and a CSGO team for a short period that did well also. And this evening, I was reading Twitter and saw that teams are now in the UK, organisations starting to contract players. Manalight, for example, just recently decided to contract their League of Legends roster and pay them a salary. From what I've read this evening, Choke Gaming are also doing the same, using a contract that myself and another person put together. But still, the looks like the Choke Gaming players are looking to sign contracts also. Other teams, TCA, have touched on it previously that they think it's a good idea to introduce contracts also. And contracts are very controversial in the sense that they how can I put this? Some players think they're a bad thing. Some orgs think they're a bad thing. It's almost 50-50. Some people think it's good, some people think it's bad, and I want to kind of discuss that and put my own personal thoughts on it. Someone that's been around the UK sports scene for many years, someone who has been part of running and managing an organisation, and dealing with sponsors directly, and dealing with players directly, and dealing with the financial side of it. So I want to give you guys my opinion and my thoughts, and I want to hopefully see if anyone else's thoughts, I guess, match mine. But let's see if we can have a discussion. Let's have a discussion. And if you've got any questions and you think you want to ask me a question, if you've watched the video and you think, I want to ask you a question, you can also tweet me on Twitter at Vincelot. You can also just drop a comment in the comments below, and I will answer them. So let's first of all start on what is the benefit of having a contract. So the contract is good for, it should be good for both parties, both the player and the organization. And it should show that there is a commitment between both the player and the organization that their partnership is going to be a fruitful one, and their partnership is going to be a lasting one for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, whatever the length of the contract may be. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. And one good thing about having a contract is that everything that the organization promises is on paper, and everything the player promises is on paper, and they've both agreed and they've both signed it. Because unfortunately, and this is something that's happened to me in the past, when players refuse to sign contracts or are not interested in contracts, and you have a verbal agreement, that verbal agreement can change over a period of time. What you said at the beginning, sometimes some of it's lost, some of it's forgotten. I wasn't too sure. Did I say I promised them land support, or did I say I didn't promise them land support? And the team might be thinking, did he say he was going to pay for our hotels, or did they say they weren't going to pay for our hotels? So sometimes things can be just forgotten, and you go, oh, actually, no, I didn't say I was going to pay for your tickets. And then the team go, oh, I thought you were going to pay for the tickets. I assumed. And sometimes things get assumed because you picked them up, you're going to pay for everything. Sometimes organizations offer tiers of support. They might only, for example, at the beginning offer to pay for tickets, and the next you do well, the next time they may offer then tickets and hotels, and one after that tickets, hotels, travel, and after that maybe salaries, and they may offer a tier system, and then you get lost in which tier system you're at. No one signed anything. There's no written document. There's nothing down on black and white to say this is what you're going to do. So sometimes things can get forgotten about, mistranslated, and can cause friction and arguments between management and players. So a contract's a really good thing to have for you to be able to say, for you to be able to go, right, this is what you promised. This is what you can say to the player. This is what you said you were going to do, and you haven't done it. Or you have done it. Well done. Super stuff. Let's reward that. Or you haven't done it. We're sorry. We're going to let you go. Or we need to work that out. And alternatively, the player can turn around to the organisation. You haven't fulfilled your part of the bargain. I want out. Or you haven't done it. What are the chances that you are going to do it, etc., etc. So that's one good reason to have a contract. Now, some people are saying, some players, some coaches, some other staff members of teams are saying, if you're not salaried, then you shouldn't sign a contract. I don't believe that at all. I think it's a really kind of self-centered, selfish thing to say, in the sense that when you make a statement, unless you're salaried, you shouldn't sign a contract. If you make that kind of statement, I believe that you think that the organization is a charity and is there for your benefit and your benefit alone, when that is not the case. It's a 50-50 relationship. Both parties have to make as much effort with each other as one would in order for it to be a fruitful relationship. I want to ask, I'd like to find out exactly how much people think that organizations have to spend on players to send them to LAN tournaments. Do you think it's fair that an organization should go and pay for hotels, tickets, and travel, and possibly food and other things to a player to go to, let's say, a nice Insomnia? Send them to an Insomnia, pay for all those things, and have them not sign a contract. Let's say, do you know how much it costs? First of all, I want to ask you players, do you know how much it costs to send a team to a LAN tournament such as Insomnia? £100, £200, £500, £1,000, £2,000. How much do you think it costs? How much do you think it costs for an organisation to send 2 teams, 3 teams, 4 teams, 5 teams, various different players? It's not cheap. And the sponsors who also invest in the team, invest in the organisation, will be putting up some of that cash as well. And it's a lot of money to put up to send a team somewhere that potentially the next day could decide they don't want to be part of the game again. They don't want to be part of it anymore. And you've just invested a lot of money into a person or a group of players, and they've just disappeared. They've just decided they don't want to play for you anymore for whatever reason. They got their free LAN and they decided to jump ship. Okay? And that's stuff that has happened. I've seen it with my own eyes happen. So the org is sitting back now thinking, wow, we just had to work really hard with our sponsors. We had to work really hard with our sponsors to get this kind of support from them. And then we had this team who we invested the support into. They went to the LAN, they did well, and then the next day they left us to go and join another org who offered a bit extra. Maybe they offered free drinks at the bar or something. Let's say they added something extra. They just decided to go to the highest bidder next, after the LAN. So then the sponsor turns around and goes, wow, okay, it's a bit of a waste of money. We just give you the support to sponsor you guys, and the team left the next day. Whew. Wow, well, that's no good. So the org is a bit upset about that. They're not happy about that. And the players, well, they got what they wanted. They went to a LAN tournament. It cost them next to nothing, or nothing at all. They enjoyed it. They got to go and play their games. And the next day they decided after that they wanted to go and play for someone else because someone else down the road offered them an extra £5 or something. And then the org's left there with nothing. They've got no team anymore. They're going to have to now go and find another team. Let's say you rinse and repeat this process over time. What's going to happen? Sponsors aren't going to be interested. Do you think a sponsor is going to send an organization products? Do you think, let's say, for example, Asus or Gigabyte or MSI are going to send a load of motherboards and graphics cards to a bunch of players that aren't contracted? Why would they do that? The marketing of an organization, for example, when an organization is sponsored by, let's say, Gigabyte, it wants Gigabyte to support them with hardware and financially, hopefully, if that can be done. When they get this kit, what Gigabyte want is a return on investment also. They want this organization to talk about, they want the players to be talking about the equipment they've got, to be talking about the Gigabyte brand, to be advertising it. But if they could leave tomorrow, or in the next hour, or next week, why would Gigabyte send all these people products and give them, give the org money to invest in that team if that team could disappear tomorrow? And all that money, their marketing budget has now just been invested into an organization team where the players have just left. And took the money, took the products, and gone. There's no stability. I know for a fact, dealing with sponsors firsthand, a lot of them nowadays will not sponsor a team unless the players are contracted. Because they might, let's say QPAD, they give a team a load of headphones. There you go. Because what they want the team to be talking about the products that they've got and using them. They want to be talking about them and sharing their experience on the social media. It's all marketing. It's all exposure. It's all about exposure for the sponsors and for the org and for the players also. But that's what the sponsors want. So then you've got, they've got no exposure, and they didn't get any exposure out of it. And it was a waste of money. They could have spent that money on something else, right? So that's why contracts are still good, regardless if there is no salary in place. And you also, another thing you have to look at when deciding do you want to salary a team or not, within whatever scene you're in, you have to think to yourself, because a salary is a large chunk of money also. If you think about a salary on top of full LAN support as well, you're talking a lot of money. A lot of money that you all has to work hard on, convincing and asking sponsors to pay for or to contribute to. And it's wasted if the team just disappears tomorrow. So regardless of salaries or not, I think contracts should be in place, and they should be fair, and they should benefit both the org and the player. No UK player currently, apart from those already in the LCS or in Challenger Series, or who have already created a following, in my eyes, none of them currently warrant high salaries. The reason being is because they need to work on themselves first. They need to create a bigger following for themselves on Twitter, on the Twitch, on their own social medias. I don't think many are worth a salary. Not initially. I think some will be, but not right now. I don't know. That's my opinion. It's a tricky one because maybe I should take that back about being worth salaries or not. But it's a tricky one because you got to think there are some players out there that invest every hour of the day into playing a game. But sometimes that's the risk you take. That's sometimes the commitment you have to put in to be good at something. And they spend a lot of time. They've dropped out of uni, or they've not gone to uni, or they've decided to not take a certain job because they're trying to become the next big UK player, and they're looking for financial support. To put in the amount of hours that you need to be good, you still need to put in a lot. So it's hard to put in the hours you need and work at the same time to support yourself. So you're hoping that an org will pay financially. But I just think right now, at the stage that the UK esports is at, the ESL are doing a fantastic job. Insomnia continues to support, stuff multiplayer, and Epic Land does a good job also. So there's lots of stuff out there to win, and lots of money to win. But we are still at the early stage. We are still not quite at that level yet where we can talk thousands of pounds or hundreds of pounds in salaries. I believe that's just what I believe from my own experience. And where am I going with this? I just think that basically the contract should be a fair thing. So, for example, this is what I think would be a fair contract for any UK team, for UK teams out there. My personal opinion, I think that if as a salary a League of Legends team, I would probably say, right, to begin with, we're not going to salary you straight off. We would like you to sign a contract, and that contract shows that you're committed to us, and we're committed to you. Now, some people will say, if there's a buyout clause, if a LCS team or Challenger Series team wants me, and there's a buyout clause, it might put them off. I don't think so. If they're in the Challenger Series, or if they're in LCS, 9 times out of 10, they've got a bit of money behind them. And if you're good enough, if they believe in you and they really want you, they will pay that buyout fee. I don't think any player currently in the UK warrants a massive buyout fee. There shouldn't be anything too large. But there should be one there. Because you imagine an organisation invests in a team, and they invest in a full support for LAN, etc., and that player wants to leave to join another team. And in doing so, let's say they can't get a fifth in time and they miss out on the LAN. They want some compensation. Because it's business. When it's not a charity. Gaming organisations are not a charity. They're a business. And they have other businesses invest in them. What the gaming org should also do is realise that the players are also a business. And they should be looking to try and promote these assets that they have in their organisation. They should be looking to try and say, okay, you, sir, you've only got 150 followers on Twitter. You should be having more than that. You should have a better following, and we'll help you we will help you to get that following. So the org as a business should invest in the players as they are essential to their business. And also the players should look to support that the org they're involved in, because any work that they do for the org should hopefully be rectified and should be replicated, and the org should then reflected, and the org should then invest in them also. You have to forgive me. I feel like I'm rambling a little bit. What was I saying? Yeah, so I think right now, if it was me, I would say, all right, okay, guys, you're a good team. I want you. Right, let's get this underway. This is what we're going to do for you initially. If I really believe in you, I'm going to say, right, I'm going to offer you full LAN support. I'm going to offer you tickets, travel, hotels, for whichever tournaments we're going to go to in the LAN. Now, if you after a month, or you review it. So after a month, let's review it. How well are you doing? A couple of months, let's review it again. Each month, review it. Now, let's say the team qualifies for Challenger Series. Now we're getting serious stuff, yeah? Okay, right, you're in Challenger Series, guys. But in the process of you getting there, you've built a following for yourselves. You've promoted the gaming org to a point now where we're also able to get a better financial sponsorship from companies. And we've secured a bit more money, and now we feel you are ready So let's give you a salary. Now you have to put in some serious work now to get into this challenge. You're in the challenge series. Prior to that, you would have had to put a lot of work. Let's say you get to the challenge series. Now I'll be thinking, oh, okay, this is serious. Let's invest in these guys with a salary monthly, because they're gonna have to put in every day that they every hour of the day to be at the top of their game, and then salary them. And then if they get to LCS, well then you live in the dream. Then Riot come in, boom, money bags, let's go. But yeah, I just think this whole contracts thing is almost like a can of worms sometimes when people talk about it. I think that players should show more respect to the gaming orgs, and I also think the gaming orgs should show a lot more respect to the players. Don't get me wrong, guys. I'm not saying I was the best manager or whatever when I ran Choke Gaming. Not at all. I made a lot of mistakes, but I made a lot of mistakes. I was learning. It's the first time running a gaming org in a year and a half. We did pretty well though. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but this contracts thing, I think, to take esports, UK esports, to the next level, and for sponsors to show a bigger interest in gaming orgs and to show more commitment to gaming orgs, and for gaming orgs to show more commitment to players, contracts are a must, regardless of salaries or not. I think this whole thing about if there's no wage, if there's no salary, then there should be no contract. So what if I was to offer you £20 a month, £50? What would you consider a salary worthy of a contract? That's what we should really be asking. And I think players that don't sign contracts are shooting themselves in the foot. And the other thing that I was going to say is that I think 6 months might possibly be a bit too long currently in the current state of UK esports. I think possibly with the ESL being as predominant as it is, maybe having a contract that lasts for the ESL license period for the season. You contracted for the season. Because what happens, vice versa, what happens if the unorg picks up players that are no good, and they fail to get into a tournament, or they fail to place highly enough, they don't get as high as the org wanted them to, do they just let them go? Or they tied into these contracts? So I think maybe it should just be a season long thing. I don't know. I just wanted to talk about it. I wanted to make a video, but that's my stance on it. That's my stance. I think contracts are a must. I think they're an important part of moving forward with gaming organisations and the UK. And I believe, regardless of salaries, it should be done. Contracts are really given. I think they're there to reinforce the commitment from the player and the organisation. But I think they should be fair. They should never be one-sided. They should be fair. The contracts should be fair. I know the one that Choke Gaming is using because, well, me and someone else put it together, and it's relatively, it's a fair contract. Pardon me. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this goes forward. I'd like to see what happens with the UK with these gaming orgs. With these contracts. Sorry, I'm a bit tired. But yeah, I think that's really my opinion. I hope some people have come along and thought I'm not just talking out of rubbish, gibberish. Hopefully, I made a few good points. If you have any questions for me, you can always message me on Skype. If you have me on Twitter, or drop a comment below in the video in the comment section below. But yeah, that is my opinion on gaming contracts and players, especially within the UK. And I'd like to. My one big question is, what do you think should be the minimum amount that players should be paid in the UK for salaries in any game, Counter-Strike, League of Legends, whatever game it is? What do you think the minimum should be monthly for the players to deem signing a contract? And the other question I'd like to ask is, how much money do you think an org spends on a team going to an Unsomnia or an Epic LAN or any of those other things? ESL is a little bit different, depending on if it's CSGO or League of Legends. Depends on ESL offers some support for League of Legends, but it's not a cheap affair. Running a business, running an org is not cheap. It costs money, and there aren't any really. I would say there's no UK orgs currently at a stage where they can profit from their own merchandise, or profit from YouTube, or profit from any social media activities. There aren't any. Any can profit that. They rely heavily on their sponsorships and investment from their owners, and it's not cheap. So before you say if they're not getting, before you say if they're not a salary, then there should be no contract, think again. Put yourself in the organisation's shoes. And the organisation should put themselves in the player's shoes as well. And that's what I've tried to do now. But as a player, yes, I'd love a salary. When I played Counter-Strike back in the day, 10 plus years ago, here we go. Yeah, I-Series champion here. Boom, shake the room. But I had to carry we didn't get land funding. I paid for my own tickets and my own travel. we rocked out with CRT under one arm, suitcase with PC in another, get on the train, let's go. Yes, esports has advanced since then, and there's a lot more money involved, but there's not a lot of money within the UK. It's getting better, but still, players, I think they got it twisted a little bit, and they need to concentrate more on their gameplay rather than what the org is doing, rather than the money side of things. Because if they are good enough, if they put the time in and they are good enough, they will reap the rewards. Big offers will come in. Money will come in. It's there for the taking. If you're good enough, if you put in the time, and if you market yourself well, then yes, you're worth a salary. And yes, you're worth loads of money. You're worth money. Until then, if you're sitting there with 50 followers, just because you're good at a game doesn't mean you should be salaried. We could talk about this all day. Anyway, I'm gonna stop it there because I don't know. It's possible I could offend. I guess I don't want to offend anyone. I'm trying to be as honest and as open as possible. I'm hoping I can, from this, maybe we can have a constructive conversation about it. I'd be interested to join some people, some players and other guys, in a group call, maybe on Skype. Maybe we could record it, and talk about it. I don't know. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I hope this has been a little bit, constructive video regarding UK esports and contracts.